Hi, I'm Liz Sneddon. Let's have a look at finding compound interest. So compound interest is a compounding percentage increase. So it means we're adding on top of and compounding it. So it's a little different from the simple interest that we looked at before. So let's take a look. In my first year, I have to pay the principal. I borrowed the principal and I get charged an interest rate for the first year. Then, in my second year, I get charged for the principal and the interest, and now the bank or whoever's going to combine that together, and I'm going to get charged interest on that total amount. So the compound interest each year means interest is charged off the total of the previous year's principal and interest altogether. So if we extend this now to our third year, then we take the total amount from our previous year, which is the principal, interest from the first year, and interest from the second year. So we're going to combine all of that together, and now we're going to be charged interest on all of that amount of money. In our fourth year, we will continue this. We'll take the principal, interest from the first year, second year, and third year. We're going to combine all of that together, and we are going to be charged interest on that total amount of money, and so on. So that pattern continues, and that leads us to what this graph is here. So simple interest is where the money keeps going up at a steady rate over time. Whereas compound interest, this takes into account the fact that we're combining the previous year's total and the previous year's interest, and so this is going up in what we call an exponential power function. So when we need to borrow money, we need to be very careful about what type of interest we're being charged. So here is the formula for our compound interest. So A, the letter A, is talking about the total amount at the end. P is your principal, what you started with. I is your interest rate, and that's per year, and we've got to remember to turn that into a decimal number. And then N is the number of years. So let's have a look at this example. So Mrs. Sneddon borrowed $4,000 from the bank and was charged compound interest of 5%. And most banks do charge compound interest, by the way. So how much does she need to pay the bank back in total after 3 years? So that's our formula here. So we've got A, which is the total amount after 3 years. We've got P, which is our principal. So that's the $4,000 that we started with, started borrowing. We've got I, which is the interest rate. And in this case, the interest rate is 5%. And then N is our number of years, which is 3 years. So we want to substitute those numbers into our formula. So that's going to say our total amount to pay is equal to our $4,000, which is our principal, times 1 plus 0.05, which I've turned that interest rate of 5% into a decimal. And then it's all to the power of 3, so that's the number of years we have. So now we are going to simplify that a little bit. So that 1 plus 0.05 in brackets, I turn into 1.05. I put that all into my calculator, and that gives me an answer of $4,630.50. So that means in total, after 3 years, that's the total amount that Miss Sneddon would have paid back to the bank. So if I want to compare the simple interest versus the compound interest, so how much it would cost if I borrow from my dad versus how much I borrow from the bank. Well, we found that the total for the simple interest was $4,600, and that was after 3 years. The compound interest was $4,630.50. So borrowing money from the bank, because they use compound interest, is going to cost $30.50 more than if I was borrowing from my dad. Thanks very much for watching.